Right then, it is time to discuss Tomas Soucek. According to three people, not myself and Gonzo, three other people have said it. Patrick Walsh says Soucek, he gets such grief, yet he is in the 11 for club and country. He's as important a player as any on the pitch. What's your thoughts? Roger says, my question is about Tomas Soucek. I didn't want to see him playing after Moyes left, but I have to say he's proved me totally wrong and seems like a different player. Do you think our manager has improved him as a player and that maybe Moyes just had him playing a certain way that made him look more limited than he actually is? And Rob, which is a bit of a different question, but it's the same topic. It's about Soucek. He says, how surprising is it that James Ward-Prowse got loaned out and Soucek is still here and doing really well when everybody, myself included, thought James Ward-Prowse would be a Lopetegui favourite and Soucek wouldn't be? So we've got three questions. They've been sent in by our patrons. We'll plug Patreon a little bit later on. But Gonzo, what's your initial take on the Soucek topic?
Yeah, I've got to say, you know what, Rob, I was one of those, certainly, Rob.
Me too.
Thought that Ward-Prowse was the nailed-on one to be part of this system that we'd heard that Lopetegui likes to play. I honestly, we did the video on Hammers Chat and 3 players to succeed under Lopetegui and 3 players to go or whatever. I can't remember what the title was, but Soucek was one of the 3, was one of the 3 to go. There's no doubt about that at all. It was in my mind at the time. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I didn't think he was technically good enough to play in a possession-based team. I think with regard to the player himself, I'm not sure that I would agree. I know this wasn't Rob's point, but I'm not sure I would agree that he has been improved technically, right? But we did see some different things. I don't think you're going to necessarily improve your technique when you're 29, 30 years of age, whatever he is. I do think there's a mentality to it though, and it's very early days. But I think he's not going to suddenly turn into Ronaldinho. But I do think that maybe there might be an instruction from Lopetegui to say, right, as soon as you get that ball, bang, play it forward. Play it. It could be something as simple as that. And funnily enough, it's something I always suspected might happen with Ward-Prowse, actually. Just going back onto Ward-Prowse, because we used to talk about his sideways passing and whatnot. And I remember saying, Gio, in a video, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if another manager this is before Lopetegui, any of that stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if another manager got hold of him. And I think I used Ange Postecoglou as an example, not because I thought he would join Spurs, but because I thought that type of player would just encourage someone like Ward-Prowse, say, no, don't do that. Get it in behind. Get your head up. Look, play it. It just becomes a mentality. And I think maybe with Soucek, I don't think we're seeing anything vastly different in terms of technique. In many respects, I think we've rewound and we've almost got the player back that we initially bought back in 2019 or whenever. January 2020, whatever.
January 2020, we signed him.
Yeah. So, but I do think that there is a mentality shift now, and I think that's different. So I think he looks reinvigorated, which you would do. I think that's the same for anyone. If you do a job, you've been working under the same parameters, and all of a sudden someone new comes in, and then you'll move to a slightly different section of wherever you're working and given new duties, which I think he's probably been done. I think there's a lot to admire.
And then there's a lot to pick apart as well in regards to Tomas Soucek. The one thing I will say, to do Rob's question first, in regards to the Ward-Prowse thing, I still think Ward-Prowse would have done all right. From what I've seen from West Ham this season, I still think he would have done okay here. It's not to say that Soucek's done better than I expected, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Ward-Prowse would have done rubbish. I think Ward-Prowse would have still done all right under Lopetegui, and I'm still surprised we loaned him out, and I've been keeping an eye on him. He obviously got sent off at the weekend for second yellow for a handball. If anyone's not seen it, go watch it. There's a counter attack, basically. I think it's Madueke. He's a way to just run in on the Nottingham Forest goal. So Ward-Prowse just jumps on the ball and catches it. Takes a second booking on the halfway line and gets sent off. It's quite good play, arguably, because they went on to get a point. But I've been keeping an eye on him. It's been a mixed start so far. He was fantastic at Anfield and got hooked early doors against Brighton, and obviously now a red card. But I still think he might have done okay under Lopetegui. In regards to Soucek, this isn't the best we've seen Soucek, because if we go back to 2020 and 2021, Tomas Soucek was nominated for the Premier League Player of the Year. Like, not West Ham's Hammer of the Year. He was the Hammer of the Year, but not just that. He was nominated as one of, I think there's maybe 6 nominations, maybe 8. He was one of those. As in regards to judges, if you like, they said this is one of the best 6 players in the Premier League this season. That's a huge achievement. It's not very often a West Ham player is nominated for Premier League Player of the Season, but Tomas Soucek was nominated for it. And he was incredible when he came in. The way we played suited him, the way that he played suited us. It was fantastic. You know, he's one of the most important signings I've ever seen West Ham make in my lifetime. When you look at what he's contributed and when he came in, the circumstances, and when he came in, and when we've been in relegation battles in the last couple of seasons, well, 2 seasons ago, I was hoping for like a Tomas Soucek type signing in January. I thought, can we get, is there a Soucek II out there? Because the influence and impact he had on the team immediately, alongside Jared Bowen, they were both signed at the same time, was incredible. But as we know, it went backwards because of Declan Rice, because Moyes felt like he had to get more out of Declan Rice, and Declan Rice wanted to develop his game at West Ham. And it's a difficult situation for Moyes because possibly the only way that you keep Declan Rice in terms of a gentleman's agreement is allowing him to dictate how he plays. If you turn around and say, no, you will be like the defensive midfielder, but well, I'm going to go this summer then, please. I'm not going to wait around. I'm off. So I think there was maybe a negotiating going on between Declan and Moyes did what he had to do to keep our best player at the club for a couple of seasons longer. And it worked because A, he stayed, and B, he ended up going for 100 million. So it worked.
And we won a trophy.
Yeah, so what Moyes did for West Ham worked. What Moyes did for Declan Rice worked. But Tomas Soucek was the victim in it. He was the one that had to be compromised in order for that. And this has been confirmed. It's been confirmed by David Moyes. Tomas Soucek spoken about it. Both people involved have spoken and said that that's hindered his game. Moyes literally said, it's not quite working with Soucek. I'm going to have to figure it out. He didn't have to figure it out. He knew why. He just didn't want to flip it back. And I think last season, Soucek had his moments, but by and large, I think it was an average season for him. And I was a bit disappointed we didn't see the old Soucek back. And I think you may be seeing a little bit of it this season, weirdly, because I didn't think you could get a better manager for Tomas Soucek than David Moyes. And I'm not sure you can, because doing it for 7 games is one thing, but doing it for 4 seasons is another thing altogether. So there's a long way to go before we reach sort of David Moyes' Tomas Soucek. But he's been far better than I expected. He's been more important compared to what I thought he'd be. Why? Well, against Ipswich, I enjoyed his passing against Ipswich Town. I thought it was quicker, and I thought it was, I say ambitious. There was still an element of safety to it. He wasn't dropping it over the defence like Lucas Paqueta tries. He was still just giving a 10-yard pass to the feet of Jared Bowen with nobody in the way. It was a straightforward enough ball.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it's one he would have done last season. He might have taken that extra touch, or he might have waited for Bowen to drop a couple of yards and give it to him. It just felt like there's maybe a little bit more adventure. He's not, listen, like you said, he's not going to turn into Ronaldinho. He ain't going to be turning into Paqueta or Bruno Fernandes or trying all these passes. And to be honest with you, I don't want him to, because
I don't want to see his impression of Ronaldinho.
Yeah, I'm not got any evidence he's going to start being able to do that. But what I seen against Ipswich was evidence that actually I can get the ball, and within 2 touches, Jared Bowen's got it 20 yards away, running at the left back 1-on-1. I've been very surprised, but very impressed by his performances so far. Why do you think it is? Do you think it is just instruction or permission or encouragement? Or what do you think the reason is?
Both. And I think, I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said it. You said, I don't know if it seems like he's taking one less touch. I think he absolutely is. And I think, and that is an instruction. I think I would not surprise me if it came back and we had it confirmed, and no one could ever do that. If it turned around, Lopetegui said, yeah, actually I have. I think this is the stuff I want the manager to be asked in a press conference, not any injury news, Julen, leave it out. That I would like to know, and I just wonder if he'd come back and he'd say, yes, absolutely, I've told him to take one less touch, and I've told him just to try and look and just to try and move it forward just a little bit quicker. I've said this so many times. Remember when Pardew came into West Ham and he said that we're taking too many passes to attack. I'd like us to attack in about 6 passes. It was one of the most simple tactical explanations I've ever heard of football, but it sort of really resonated with me, and well, clearly stuck with me to this day. So I think it is instruction. I wonder if he feels a little bit vindicated as well, because he would have known. In fact, he did know. He mentioned it. He said that the Czech press had, when they interviewed him, he'd obviously gone away for international duty. The Czech press had said, West Ham fans don't want you anymore, which leads to the first comment, of course. I think there was. I don't think he's got a nasty bone in his body, so I don't think there's a case of I'll show you bloody lot. I think he loves being at West Ham. I think he loves the West Ham fans. Even when we play crap, he comes over. He'll still come around and clap everybody and all that. He's that type of guy. He's an exceptional character, and I think part of it now is his character shining through, which is I can do this other stuff, not the dribbling. He's not going to be, doing what Kudus does, but I can play in this team, and I think it's a massive testament to the man's character as well. But I think there's so much focus sometimes on what someone can't do rather than what they can do. And I remember when we first started to notice that maybe Antonio could possibly be a striker, and beast mode started to become a moniker that was starting to be applied to him. And I remember us doing a video about it, and somebody had said, all he is sort of strong, fast, and athletic. And I remember saying to you, it's funny how they're dirty words, they're dirty attributes. It's not it's not a Rabona, it's not a pirouette, it's not any of the passing or any of the things that maybe if you were, looking for an attribute on a perfect footballer. But they're the ability to head, the ability to arrive late in the box, the ability to run a couple of kilometers longer than your opposition in a game. They're all qualities that Soucek has, and they have their value in a game of football. They really, really do. Not everyone can be Kevin De Bruyne. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And does he have the best first touch in the world? No, but he has a hell of a finishing technique. He has an awareness and a timing of where that danger is going to be. And we go back to the Ipswich game. He was still in the box, had a shot. I got saved. It was pretty much saved on the line. All right, might have been a bit at the goalkeeper, but it was pretty much saved at the line. And if Kudus hadn't headed that in, Soucek was heading that in. And that is not, he's not fluking it for years. There is something when that ball's going to come in a box, there's something in his mind. Also, all the top strikers have got it. I think, hold on, I'm going to take 2 steps back here. I'm going to make a little run that way. I'm going to stand here because I think that ball's going to ricochet over here. That's a skill. And I think when a lot of people, might assess him, and particularly outsiders, non-West Ham fans, and they might look at him. We're not talking. No one's ever claiming that he can do the most keepy-uppies. No, but he does have attributes which are very effective in a football match.
Right then, I'm going to quickly plug Patreon, and Gonzo's giving me an idea for one of the next episodes of Amateur Scout. We're going to set your task right now, Gonzo. You don't know this is coming. I want you to go and have a look at Tomas Soucek last season compared to this season. See just how many touches he is taking. Is he actually releasing the ball quicker? Is his average pass length getting greater? Is it becoming a bit more progressive? Okay. You can go access all that data now. So that's your next episode of Amateur Scout sorted out. But these questions are from patrons because we did our Mug of Tea earlier on this week where we discussed what people want us to discuss. We covered a whole host of topics over there. But Patreon's the best way to support us. You can do that by going to patreon.com/Hamish Chat. Basically, answer this question. Would you give Hamish Chat less than £1 a week? 90p a week. Would you give us 90p a week to keep on creating videos every single day on YouTube? If the answer is yes, I'll give you 90p a week, then please do go join Patreon, because you can join it from £3.60 per month. But not only does it help us do these YouTube videos, you get additional videos over there, but you can also enter prediction competition, which I think is very underrated at the minute. A lot of people enter, but just not everybody's entering. Get on over there. All you have to do is guess a score in the first quarter of the game. There's some big prizes up for grabs. For the Liverpool game, someone won a signed Paulo Di Canio captain's armband. That's that there. He's won that one. And for the Brentford game, Major, who frequently comments, he won a signed Paulo Di Canio shirt and signed Tony Gale autobiography simply by predicting 1-1 with him Mbeumo to score the first goal, and he won it. It's that simple. It's included in your subscription. Patreon.com/Hamish Chat. Links in description below. What I was going to say was in regards to the first comment, which was from Patrick, and he said about the club and country, is when I have watched him for Czech. Now, it's not very often, it is not loads. I do feel like he plays differently to how he plays at West Ham. I have said it on a few occasions. There was one assist he did about 12 months ago now. He did like a Cruyff turn on the edge of the box and played someone through. Hang on a minute, what's he doing? Where's this come from? But even in the Euros, I thought he was just a little bit more assertive with his passing. And I think part of the reason, I get why, I know there'll be people watching this thinking, no, too much praise for Soucek and shouldn't be in the 11. I get it. I still kind of am one of those people. I still think that if we're going to play sexy football, that he's perhaps not going to be part of it. But this season so far, I think he's been really good. And I do think part of the reason he's succeeding is because I almost feel like Lopetegui's game is more David Moyes and Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
So it's still got that pragmatic approach, and it's still got that, if it's not working, let's get the ball out wide and get. I mean, against Ipswich, we're putting plenty of crosses in and stuff. So there's a lot of crosses going into the box. He's our only danger at set pieces because we've become terrible at them. We get corners now. I'm not expecting us to create something, whereas before it's like, oh, here we go, set piece, let's go. Craig Dawson, Kurt Zuma, whoever it is, get your head on this one. But now it's like, lucky if it beats the first man kind of thing. Yeah. But he's our only threat really at set pieces. But the way that Lopetegui plays, I think, is getting the best out of Tomas Soucek to some extent. And listen, at the end of the day, what we want as a fan is completely different to what a head coach wants. We want football. We want the ball on the deck. It's this, that, and the other. We want to be entertained. And he isn't what you would call an entertainer. He's not the guy that's going to beat his man and whip in a cross. He's not the guy that's going to score from 30 yards out or anything like that. But what he is someone that the head coach knows he's going to give 100%. He's going to defensively. When we concede a goal and we look at it on Monday morning, we analyse where it's gone wrong. Very rarely do you say it's Tomas Soucek's fault. In fact, I couldn't tell you last time we did a player ratings. I thought at fault for a goal we conceded. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. We can all think off the top of our head, Areola, Saturday, Paqueta, Saturday, Mavropanos. There's quite a list for this season already. Agerd, big list. Emerson's had a few in there. Even Wan-Bissaka's already.
Rodriguez.
Yeah. So there's plenty of players where you look at goal conceded, it's who's at fault, and you're picking out one or two players. I'm sure there's been goals where you say Tomas Soucek, but there's not that many. It's very few and far between because he's really reliable. It's just, I think he's reliable for things the head coach likes and not reliable for what the fans like, which is, can you contribute us creating chances? And I think that's where the answer is no. He can score the chances, but it's a bit in the middle. I think it's Steve 50 in our chat said that his son says Tomas Soucek's fantastic in both 18-yarders, just not very good in between them. And I think it sort of summarises Tomas Soucek a little bit. But I think that's why Lopetegui and David Moyes loves him.
Yeah, and I can understand that, Gio, as well, by the way. I think there's, in the build-up to the Ipswich game, in the build-up show, because I think almost the two things are separate. You could not want Tomas Soucek in your team. So if you've got an idea on who you want to play Tottenham, whoever's watching this, whatever your chosen 11 is, absolutely, you might not make Tomas Soucek in there. That's very separate. I kept on reading people saying, there were 3 or 4 comments of people saying, I don't understand why Lopetegui still picks him. Well, that's different. That's different because I do. I mean, and he wouldn't. To be fair, Soucek wouldn't be in my team every week either. But what I do think is, if I was a football manager, particularly one with my job on the line as well, I would probably be looking and wanting to know what I was going to get out of my team and everyone on it. It doesn't mean I'd have no flair. I would have flair, but I think I would probably, who do I know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get X amount of miles out of him, X amount of challenges. He's probably going to have a chance to score a goal. He's probably the second or third best finisher at the club or something like. Do you know what I mean? And I think I would look at it and I think, okay, yeah, I've got to put him in there. What I just want to say is, Gio, just before we go on the amateur scout, just in case you alluded to the amateur scout there, just in case you don't know what amateur scout is, that's something we do on our Patreon. We've because of our lovely, wonderful patrons, we've got the best. Basically, we've got the best scouting dossiers in the world. We've got access to the best scouting network in the world. And Gio gives me, as part of a little video series we do, Gio gives me little missions I've got to go and do and find things out. So when we record it as a video, so the whole process of the video is I go and, in this instance, going to be compare Tomas Soucek, but it could be finding out about a new player or something like that. So just to let you know, if you want to go and get a little bit more of that, then links in the description below.
Emphasis on amateur.
I've got him. Who's he play for?
There's a reason. There's a reason it's called amateur scout, because that's where you're going to go get a dummy's guide to how to use wise scouting, read data and statistics. But it's fun. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. The one thing I will say, that this is going to come across as backhanded, but actually, I think it's a huge compliment. One thing I think I find most impressive about a human being is the ability to change your mind. I think it's a wonderful trait to have, and we all know people that are unwilling to change their mind. They're very difficult. They're very difficult to deal with. So when people have the characteristic in them that says, I'm open to changing my mind, to changing my opinion, I'm not ashamed to say it. It doesn't mean you were wrong. If you go from A to B, it doesn't mean you're wrong with A. It just means you've had more evidence. It just makes you think, I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going over to B now. And I think over the course of the last few weeks, I think Tomas Soucek has changed a lot of people's minds. And that is a big compliment I'm going to give him. Because when you said midfield for Tottenham, if you did this survey 3 weeks ago, I think it would have been at a very low percentage. Say, oh yeah, Tomas Soucek, please. I don't know, 20%, I'm guessing, maybe a bit more. But now I think it would be I think it'd be over 50%. I think more than half the people would say Soucek in there. I think there's it's split between three: Alvarez, Rodriguez, Soucek, and Alvarez, Soucek. I think that would be your three combinations. I know we've got Carlos Soler, but I think it would be quite a low minority that would want to see him central midfield. I think Soucek is changing people's minds about him, and if he can perform under Lopetegui's system,
yeah.
And I think that's a big thing. I think that's good, and I think that sums up how good he's been so far this season. So there you go. Anything you'd like to add before we disappear?
There was one thing actually. Well, I've changed my mind actually. No,
characteristic.
You like that type of thing. There's this whole thing about his lack of silkiness. That's always been okay at West Ham, by the way, traditionally over the years. So we did Patreon. We did a video the other day, and we've
already plugged that one. Yeah, we've already plugged that.
No. Yeah, I know, but we did Mug of Tea, and somebody asked about favourite players that weren't necessarily superstar players, right? That was something question along those lines. And I was talking about George Parris. I was talking about Steve Potts, and I was talking about a number of players that play for West Ham. We brought up Zabaleta. You brought up Zabaleta, didn't you? There was a number of players that play for West Ham. Tomas Soucek's going to go down as a West Ham legend, and I'm pretty sure about that. You haven't got to be silky. There've been plenty, and people will be watching this now thinking, oh yeah, him, Ginger Pele, whoever. You know, I'd tell you something.
I can't believe you just said legend. 22 minutes of content, and that last minute is going to be the thing that is going to cause a debate in the comment section.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. People will quote mine, and I'll take what I want out of it. But I do think. Icon. Let's go with icon.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt he's cult hero icon.
A cult hero. And I think you'll look back and you'll see all the important goals he scored. And you'll see he scored a trophy. And actually, when you look back, the fact that he didn't do a million stepovers, we've always appreciated a skillful player at West Ham, be it Alan Devonshire or Trevor Brooklyn, Dimitri Payet when he's here, whatever, Paolo Di Canio. But there's always been room for a trier at West Ham and someone that'll run through brick walls. And he's got that. And I think, I also don't see this mass volume of hatred that I know some people say is there. I think some people just wouldn't necessarily have him in the team sometimes. And I think I've got to say, just like was it Rob that said it at the last question? I felt the same as I know you did. I didn't expect him to be here this season. So he's number one. I'm surprised, and number two, I'm grateful for it.
Well, Rob, Roger, and Patrick, thank you very much for your questions. Thank you to you guys for watching at home. Please get involved in the comments below. Maybe not the legend quote, maybe the rest of it. But I think some people will see him as a legend, some people won't. I just can't be bothered with the aggressive debate about it, truth be told. But if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up, subscribe to Damage Chat. If you fancy giving us 90p per week and getting more video content and entering prediction competition, go to patreon.com/hammerchat. Links in the description below, links in the pinned comments as well. It's easy to find. Thank you for everybody for your support, and thank you to those three for their questions. We'll catch you in a bit.